People pay good money at salons to walk out looking like $1,000,000, but some customers leave acting like they just walked out of a crime scene. We have all seen a bad haircut, but wait until you hear about the woman who sued because her hair did not magically grow 3 inches during a conditioning treatment. Today, we are counting down 55 of the most ridiculous, brain-melting complaints from the beauty world. These stories prove that the customer is definitely not always right. 1. Pricing is usually based on the service, not the amount of hair you have left on your head. A balding gentleman was outraged that he was charged the full price for a men's cut because he only had hair on the sides of his head. He argued he should get a 75% discount since the top was already done by nature and required zero effort from the barber. Do you think he has a valid point about paying by the square inch? Or is a haircut just a haircut regardless of coverage? 2. We have all heard the phrase, "do whatever you want with my hair," but for one stylist in Florida, those words were a total trap. After 3 hours of precision work, the client looked in the mirror and started sobbing hysterically. It was not because the hair looked bad, but because she felt the layers were too aggressive for her current emotional state. She filed a formal complaint, stating the stylist should have sensed her fragile aura, and opted for a soothing bob instead. 3. Gravity is a harsh mistress, but apparently, some people think it is optional when you visit a high-end salon. One woman left a scathing 1-star review because her fresh blowout did not stay perfectly voluminous while she was driving her convertible with the top down on the highway. She told the manager that for $200, the hairspray should have created a structural force field to defy the wind. Does she want a stylist or a NASA engineer? 4. Spray tans are supposed to give you a glow, but one customer was livid when she discovered massive white patches on her body after the session. The reason for the failure was simple. She refused to take off her leggings and oversized hoodie because she felt the air in the room was too chilly. She later posted a rant on Yelp, accusing the salon of using cheap equipment that could not penetrate fabric. It is honestly impressive that someone reached adulthood believing that tanning mist functions like a high-powered X-ray machine. 5. Customer service is a delicate balance, but this next one takes the cake for being completely backwards. A woman spent her entire 2-hour appointment screaming into her phone about her messy divorce, only to later complain that her stylist was cold and uncommunicative. She claimed the silence made her feel judged and that the stylist should have chimed in with life advice. It turns out that paying for a haircut does not automatically sign you up for a free therapy session with a captive audience who is just trying to work. 6. Biology is the ultimate enemy of the entitled salon goer who refuses to understand how the human body works. A regular client returned to her nail bar 3 weeks after a manicure, demanding a full refund because her natural nails had the audacity to grow. She pointed at the gap near her cuticles and insisted the technician had used a special shrinking formula to force her into coming back sooner. The manager tried to explain human growth, but the woman kept shouting that her nails never behaved this way before. Have you ever been so confident in your own wrongness that you tried to sue Mother Nature? 7. Everyone wants to look like a Kardashian until they realize they do not actually have the bone structure or the bank account. A girl walked into a brow bar with a photo of a supermodel and left in tears because she still looked exactly like herself. Her formal complaint stated that the technician failed to change her entire facial geometry using only a pair of tweezers and some dark wax. She was genuinely convinced that a $15 brow tint was a valid substitute for $10,000 worth of professional plastic surgery. 8. Some people go looking for a reason to be miserable, like the woman who complained that a hair salon smelled way too much like hairspray. She suggested they switch to organic lavender because the chemical scent was interfering with her third eye and her general zen. It is a bold move to walk into a business that literally uses chemicals for a living and demand it smells like a mountain meadow in Switzerland. If you were the owner, would you tell her to leave or just hand her a mask and keep working? 9. Parent logic can be truly terrifying when it comes to aesthetics. One mother brought her screaming toddler in for a buzz cut and then filed a complaint because the child looked less like a distinguished gentleman and more like a tiny potato. She argued that the stylist should have used advanced cutting techniques to hide the kid's round face and protruding ears. Newsflash for parents, a barber is not a wizard, and your 3-year-old is always going to look like he just finished a juice box marathon regardless of the fade. 10. A woman complained that the water used during her shampoo was too wet and made her neck feel slightly damp. Even after being offered a towel, she insisted the experience was traumatic because she hates the sensation of moisture near her ears. At that point, you wonder why she did not just opt for a dry cut or a different hobby. 11. A woman spent $300 on a stunning platinum blonde transformation and then immediately went swimming in a highly chlorinated public pool for 4 hours straight. When she returned to the salon the next day, looking like a swamp monster with bright green hair, she demanded a full refund for the faulty product. She genuinely believed that professional hair color creates an impenetrable force field that protects against basic chemical reactions and pool water, regardless of how much chlorine she soaks in. She actually asked the manager why they did not sell a waterproof glaze if they knew people liked to swim. 12. There is always that one client who brings in a picture of Jennifer Aniston and gets angry when they do not leave with her face. One stylist had to deal with a customer who wanted her fine, pin-straight hair to look like a thick, voluminous afro without using any chemicals, perms, or heat tools. She claimed a really good haircut should be able to change her DNA and follicle shape if the stylist actually knew what they were doing and was not just being lazy. Apparently, scissors are supposed to have magical genetic editing powers included in the price. 13. Time management is apparently just a suggestion for some people. A lady showed up 45 minutes late to her 1-hour appointment and threw a fit when told she could not get a full head of highlights in the remaining 15 minutes. She argued that since she drove really fast to get there, the stylist should be able to speed up the chemical processing time to accommodate her schedule, as if bleach works faster when you are in a rush. She did not seem to understand that chemistry does not care about her traffic problems. 14. We all know waxing is not exactly a spa massage, but one first-timer was shocked that ripping hair out by the root actually involves physical sensation. She stopped the appointment halfway through a bikini wax and demanded the manager fire the esthetician for inflicting torture. She cited a Google ad that said painless waxing and took it as a literal binding legal contract rather than marketing fluff, expecting zero feeling whatsoever. She threatened to sue for emotional distress because she felt a slight sting during the hair removal process. 15. A man walked in with a patchy, disastrous buzz cut he gave himself in his bathroom using dull dog clippers. He demanded the salon fix it for free because he had watched a tutorial that the salon owner had posted on Instagram 3 years ago. His logic was that since the video made it look easy, the salon was liable for his lack of hand-eye coordination and failure to follow instructions, treating the post like a lifetime warranty. He truly believed that watching a 30-second clip made him a qualified barber by osmosis. 16. Nothing ruins a relaxing spa day faster than unattended children running wild. A mother filed a formal complaint against a salon because the receptionist refused to chase her 3 feral sons around the lobby while she got a 2-hour pedicure. She stated that a family-friendly establishment implies free childcare services and that her kids breaking a bottle of expensive shampoo was the staff's fault for not catching it in time. If you were the manager, would you have charged her extra for the babysitting or banned her for life? 17. Shedding hair is a natural part of being a mammal, but do not tell that to this next customer. After a standard haircut, she collected every single snipped strand from the floor, put them in a plastic bag, and weighed them on a kitchen scale at home. She called the police to report an assault, claiming the stylist had removed more mass than agreed upon and had effectively stolen her property, demanding they arrest the thief immediately. The dispatch officer had to explain that getting a haircut involves losing hair, but she insisted it was grand larceny. 18. The laws of chemistry are often ignored in the beauty world by optimistic clients. A girl with jet black box-dyed hair demanded to go platinum blonde in a single 1-hour session because she saw a transformation video on TikTok. When the stylist explained that her hair would literally melt off her head, the girl accused the salon of gatekeeping blonde hair and stormed out screaming that she would just use bleach from the hardware store instead to prove them wrong. She was convinced the stylist was just hoarding the good bleach for herself. 19. Imagine being a professional stylist and having a woman sit in your chair demanding neon pink highlights while insisting that pink is actually her natural color from birth. When the bill finally arrived, she went into a full meltdown and claimed she should not have to pay because the stylist was simply bringing out her inner essence. She argued that the chemicals were just a catalyst for her biological pinkness, and charging her was discrimination against her heritage. How do you even respond to that level of delusion without losing your professional license or your mind? 20. Salons are public spaces, but one woman treated the entire building like her private library. She complained to corporate that other customers were talking too loudly to their stylists and disturbing her meditation during a root touch-up. She actually suggested the salon implement a strict vow of silence for everyone in the building so she could properly manifest her hair goals without distraction from the outside world. She claimed the bad vibes from the chatter were going to make her roots grow back gray. 21. A woman sat down in the chair and asked for a dusting, which is industry speak for taking off the absolute bare minimum to remove split ends. When the stylist complied perfectly and removed less than a quarter inch, the client refused to pay the bill because she looked exactly the same as when she walked in. She argued that if her friends could not tell she had been to a salon from 50 feet away, then the service did not actually happen. She wanted the dramatic visual impact of a complete makeover with the physical reality of a microscopic trim, claiming she was paying for a reaction, not just a haircut. 22. A customer demanded a full platinum card service but insisted that the stylist use absolutely zero chemicals because she is currently living a strict holistic lifestyle. She brought a bottle of lemon juice and some baking soda from her kitchen and told the professional to just mix it up and apply it with foil like a science fair volcano project. When the stylist explained that salad dressing ingredients do not lift dark hair to white blonde, the woman left a review calling the salon toxic and unsupportive of natural remedies, accusing them of being in the pocket of big chemical companies. 23. The shampoo bowl is meant to be relaxing, but one wife watched her husband get a scalp massage and decided it was an act of infidelity. She filed a formal complaint claiming the stylist was using seductive finger movements while washing the conditioner out of his hair. She actually demanded that the salon implement a policy where male clients are only allowed to wash their own hair in the sink to prevent any emotional affairs from developing during the rinse cycle. She truly believed soap bubbles were the gateway to a broken marriage. 24. We have all struggled to describe a haircut, but one client took it to a metaphysical level. She told the stylist she had a dream about a specific hairstyle the night before and that she wanted that exact look, but refused to describe it because she felt the energy should be obvious to a creative person. When the result did not match the image in her subconscious mind, she accused the stylist of having a blocked chakra and bad intuition, refusing to tip because the psychic connection was too weak for her standards. 25. A bargain hunter walked into a high-end color studio carrying a box of $3 drugstore dye and a plastic cap she bought on clearance. She told the receptionist she just wanted to pay for the labor of applying it, offering a generous $5 for the stylist's time. She genuinely could not grasp why a master colorist would refuse to slap cheap metallic salts onto her head for the price of a latte, calling them elitist for insisting on using their own professional inventory instead of her bargain bin finds. 26. Bringing a reference photo is helpful, unless that photo is a grainy black and white picture of Marilyn Monroe from the 1950s. A client brought this vintage image and demanded the stylist replicate the exact color shown in the picture. The stylist tried to explain that grayscale is not a hair color, but the woman insisted she wanted that specific shade of shimmering silver gray, and blamed the lighting in the salon when it came out looking like actual human hair color instead of a vintage photograph filter. 27. Validation is nice, but it is not legally included in the receipt. A woman returned 2 days after a haircut, demanding a full refund because her husband and coworkers had failed to compliment her new look. She argued that the haircut was defective if it did not elicit immediate praise from everyone she encountered. Do you think a stylist is responsible for the observational skills of a client's oblivious husband? Or is that a marital issue that needs to be solved at home? 28. Most salons offer a few days to fix a cut, but one lady came back 6 months later demanding a free touch-up. She claimed the haircut had expired too quickly and that a quality cut should maintain its shape for at least a full year without maintenance. She compared it to buying a car and expected a warranty that covered natural biological growth, refusing to believe that hair keeps growing even when you ask it nicely to stop. She thought she bought a permanent object, not a service. 29. The black nylon cape is there to protect your clothes, not to make a fashion statement. However, a fashion-conscious client complained that the cutting cape was unflattering and made her look wide in the mirror. She refused to wear it, insisting on getting her hair dyed while wearing her expensive white silk blouse. Naturally, when a drop of dye inevitably hit the silk, she blamed the stylist for having shaky hands and demanded they pay for her dry cleaning bill since she warned them about the fabric. 30. We usually complain about noise, but one woman was upset that the salon's high-tech, silent hairdryers were actually too quiet. She claimed that without the loud roaring sound of a jet engine next to her ear, she did not feel like her hair was actually getting dry. She insisted the stylist use an old broken dryer from the back room just so she could feel the raw power of the heat, believing that volume equals efficiency and that silence means it is not working. 31. There is a widespread myth that hair color takes better on dirty hair, but one client took this advice to a biological extreme. She walked in for a double-process blonde service with hair that had not touched water or shampoo in 6 full weeks, claiming she was marinating her scalp in natural oils for protection. When the stylist politely insisted on washing it first because the smell was actually making other customers gag, the woman filed a complaint about the salon shaming her natural ecosystem. She genuinely believed that a layer of grease thick enough to fry an egg was the secret to a perfect balayage. 32. Lying to your doctor is dangerous, but lying to your hairstylist usually just ends in tragedy. A young woman sat in the chair and swore on her life that her jet black hair was completely virgin and had never been dyed. 10 minutes after the bleach was applied, the foils started smoking and heating up like a toaster oven because of a chemical reaction with the box dye she had actually used last month. Instead of apologizing, she screamed that the salon's chemicals were snitches for revealing her secret and demanded a refund for the emotional betrayal. 33. A woman brought her husband along to her appointment, not to sit in the waiting area, but to stand directly behind the stylist and offer real-time commentary. This man, who was a retired accountant with zero cosmetology training, kept micromanaging the angle of the scissors and critiquing the sectioning technique. When the stylist finally asked him to sit down so she could see, the wife filed a formal grievance stating that the salon was disrespectful to masculine intuition. Do you think partners should be banned from the cutting floor? Or is this just a case of a backseat driver gone wrong? 34. We have all heard of main character syndrome, but this walk-in client really thought she was the star of the show. She strolled into a fully booked salon on a Saturday afternoon and demanded an immediate cut and color without an appointment. When the receptionist explained they were booked solid for 3 weeks, she threw a tantrum and claimed it was bad business practice not to keep a chair open specifically for her in case she felt spontaneous. She truly believed the world revolved around her sudden urge for highlights. 35. Mathematics is usually an exact science, but not when it comes to measuring hair length in a salon chair. A client specifically asked to have 4 inches cut off, and the stylist pulled out a literal ruler to show her exactly how much that was before cutting. Despite agreeing to the measurement, the woman started weeping when the hair hit the floor, claiming that salon inches are different from real-world inches. She insisted that in the beauty industry, 4 inches should only look like 1 inch visually. 36. The influencer culture has created a new breed of entitlement that business owners have to deal with daily. A girl with 45 followers on Instagram, mostly bots and family members, demanded a $500 extension service completely for free. When the owner politely declined the exposure, the girl threatened to ruin the salon's reputation with a scathing review. She claimed the owner was blocking her shine and sabotaging her inevitable rise to fame by refusing to sponsor her look. 37. Reference photos are great, but some requests defy the laws of physics and biology. A client brought in a picture of a cartoon character from an anime show and seriously wanted her hair to defy gravity in distinct sharp spikes without using any gel or hairspray. She wanted the cut itself to provide the structural integrity to stand up on its own. When the stylist explained that human hair is soft and flexible, the client accused her of lacking artistic vision and being too lazy to engineer a structural marvel. 38. A woman booked a silent appointment, which is a service offered for people who do not want to chat, but then proceeded to talk for 2 hours straight. The problem arose when the stylist, respecting the booking, only nodded and smiled without initiating conversation. The client later complained that the stylist was rude and standoffish for actually following the instructions on the booking form. She apparently wanted the option of silence, but expected the stylist to break the vow the moment she started gossiping. 39. Lighting can be tricky, but blaming the sun for your problems is a bold strategy. A customer loved her hair inside the salon but returned 20 minutes later in a rage because her hair looked different when she caught a glimpse of it in her car's rearview mirror. She argued that the salon should have simulated harsh, ugly fluorescent lighting during the consultation so she would know what she looked like at her worst. She essentially wanted the salon to dim their lights to match the ambiance of a DMV office. 40. Pet owners love their animals, but one woman took her obsession a few steps too far. She brought her golden retriever into the salon and demanded that the colorist match her highlights exactly to the dog's fur. After 3 hours of painstaking work to achieve the perfect honey gold shade, the woman was furious because the texture of her hair did not feel as soft as the dog's ears. She failed to understand that bleach does not turn human hair into animal fur, no matter how much you love your puppy. 41. Technology has ruined realistic expectations, especially when clients forget that real life does not come with a built-in beauty filter. A teenager showed the stylist a selfie of herself, heavily edited with a Snapchat filter that smoothed her skin and enlarged her eyes. She demanded a haircut that would make her face look exactly like the digital version without wearing any makeup. When the haircut failed to physically alter her bone structure and pore size, she accused the stylist of false advertising and claimed the salon was behind the times for not offering facial reconstruction services. 42. Chemical treatments are famous for having strong odors, but one woman treated a standard perm like a chemical warfare attack. As soon as the solution was applied, she started gagging theatrically and shouting that the salon was trying to poison her with toxic fumes. She demanded a refund halfway through the process because the sulfur smell, which is completely normal for a perm, did not smell like the organic lavender field she had imagined in her head. She apparently thought curling solution was just fancy scented water. 43. We all get tired, but falling asleep in a salon chair is a recipe for disaster. A man dozed off during a precision fade and violently jerked his head to the left-right as the clippers were near his ear, resulting in an accidental bald patch. He woke up furious and blamed the barber for not anticipating his sleep patterns or strapping his head to the headrest with duct tape. Do you think the barber should pay for the fix, or is staying awake the customer's only job? 44. Charity is a noble cause, but hair donation centers have strict quality standards for a reason. A woman tried to donate 12 inches of hair that had been bleached, dyed red, and then dyed black again over the course of 3 years. When the stylist gently explained that Locks of Love does not accept fried, chemical-laden hair that feels like straw, the woman accused the salon of hating sick children. She insisted that beggars can't be choosers, even though the hair would literally dissolve during processing. 45. Fixing a DIY disaster is standard, but one woman made it mathematically impossible. She came in with jagged, uneven bangs she hacked off at home and demanded the stylist fix them without taking any more length off. She literally screamed that she wanted them straight and even, but refused to let the scissors touch them because she was growing them out. She expected the stylist to magically conjure new hair out of thin air to fill in the gaps she created in her bathroom. 46. The temperature of the water at the shampoo bowl is the most contentious issue in the salon world. One woman made the assistant adjust the water temperature for 10 full minutes, complaining that 1 degree cooler was freezing and 1 degree warmer was scalding lava. She eventually demanded they boil a kettle of water and mix it with bottled water from the fridge in a bucket because she did not trust the salon's plumbing system to be gentle enough for her scalp. 47. Time is relative, but a color correction is a marathon, not a sprint. A businesswoman booked a 30-minute lunch break appointment and demanded a full transition from black box dye to icy platinum blonde. When the stylist laughed thinking it was a joke, the woman became dead serious and offered to pay double if they just hurried up. She genuinely believed that chemical processing time was just a suggestion and that if she threw enough money at the problem, the bleach would work 12 times faster. 48. Bartering was a common way to pay for goods in the Middle Ages, but it usually does not fly in modern businesses. A client received $200 worth of services and then tried to pay the bill with a bag of homemade crystals and essential oil blends. She argued that her healing stones were actually worth more than the currency and that the salon should be grateful for the energy exchange. When the police were mentioned, she suddenly remembered she had a credit card. 49. Jealousy is an ugly emotion, especially when you project it onto the person trying to make you look good. A client left a 1-star review stating that her stylist was too pretty, and it made her feel insecure during the appointment. She claimed that the salon should have a policy against hiring attractive staff because it intimidates the customers who are having a bad hair day. Is it fair to judge a professional based on their looks, or is this just pure insecurity speaking? 50. Mirrors are the most essential tool in a salon, but one customer found them to be an invasion of privacy. She complained to management that there were too many reflective surfaces in the shop and that she was forced to look at herself from unflattering angles while the foil was in her hair. She suggested that the salon cover all mirrors with velvet curtains until the final reveal so that clients could maintain their dignity during the ugly phase of the process. 51. A heavily pregnant stylist was on her feet all day working hard, but one client found her presence to be an inconvenience rather than impressive. The customer actually filed a complaint stating that the stylist's baby bump was intruding on her personal space every time she leaned in to cut the hair around the front. She suggested that the salon should hide pregnant staff in the back room until they deflated back to a professional size because seeing the miracle of life was ruining her relaxing spa vibe. 52. We expect hygiene in a salon, but one germaphobe took it to a suffocating level. She demanded that her stylist hold her breath while cutting her bangs because she did not want to inhale recycled air from another human being. She claimed that the stylist breathing near her face was a violation of her health boundaries and asked if they had a snorkel or a long tube available so the stylist could breathe away from the chair. How do you even politely tell a client that breathing is a non-negotiable part of staying alive? 53. The refund scam is a classic move, but social media has made it much harder to pull off. A woman screamed at the manager that her color correction was a disaster, refused to pay, and stormed out in tears claiming her life was ruined. 20 minutes later, the salon owner found a public post on her Instagram where she was flaunting the exact same hair with the caption, "Obsessed with my new look." She apparently forgot that blocking the business account is step 1 of trying to steal $200 worth of services. 54. Economic inflation is a global reality, but one elderly client brought a receipt from 1985 to prove a point. She was outraged that a wash and set cost $40 today when she used to pay $12 for it during the Reagan administration. She insisted the salon honor the price on her yellowed, crumbling receipt because she had been a loyal customer for decades. refusing to acknowledge that rent, electricity, and the cost of living have changed in the last 40 years. 55. Finally, we have the ultimate case of misplaced expectations where a salon was blamed for a failed relationship. A woman spent $500 on a revenge makeover, specifically to win back her ex-boyfriend at a wedding. When he did not immediately fall to his knees and beg for her back upon seeing her new balayage, she sued the salon for false advertising. She argued that since the stylist promised she would look like $1,000,000, the service was defective because it did not result in a marriage proposal. From expecting scissors to edit DNA to suing for a lack of romantic attention, these stories prove that the customer is not only rarely right, but often completely detached from reality. If you were a salon owner, would you have refunded these people just to get them out of your shop, or would you have banned them for life on the spot? Let me know your verdict in the comments below. If you enjoyed this descent into madness, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the absurd side of human nature.